Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to RaceSpotTV and round number 6 of the Monday Night UK&I Skip Barber series. Today we will be racing at WeatherTech Raceway at Laguna, Seca, and it's going to be a packed field once again with 53 cars signed up for the event. Still got about 2 minutes left of the qualifying here, so everybody will get a chance to finish off their laps, but I think we're in for a pretty decent race here today. It's 32 degrees on the track, pretty cloudy and not too windy. The track 3.5 kilometers long, or 2.2 miles if you're using those measurements, and by the looks of it right now, Rachel, oh actually Pattinson just took over the lead, so I was going to say Benny Simonson almost took his 5th pole in 6 races, but Pattinson just pipped him for the lead.
Benny is still on a lap though, so we'll keep an eye on that. He is flying through the corkscrew right now, trying to get himself through to the end of this lap. Looks to be a good one. We'll keep track of that, see if he can make it his 5th. But Laguna Seca, Linus, WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca is one of the most popular tracks in the circuit. Naturally, of course, being one of the included tracks in race racing. Everyone has it, so we always expect big fields, and it's also one people know very, very well. Final corner there for Benny. Let's see what he's going to pull this time by. Is it going to be quicker? That's the question. Coming up to the line, we'll see if it's enough to make a difference. Yes, it is.
It is.
And he seals it.
Wow, that's 5 pole positions in 6 races for Benny Simonson this season. That is outstanding. Unfortunately for him, though, he's not been able to do too much out of that in the races, as we've had 5 different winners in the 5 races so far this season. We still got a couple of cars out on their laps here. We're watching the number 21 here coming to the end of his lap. But that's Tim Adcock. He's currently scored in 41st, and he goes off the track. And I think that will be it. So let's go through the starting grid for today's event. On pole position, as you saw there, Benny Simonson 135.915, about half a tenth ahead of Ewan Pattinson in 2nd. Got Lee Hughes in 3rd, Simon Edwards in 4th, then it's Lee Anderson in 5th and Anthony Catt in 6th. There's all the 6 big names in the top 6 for this race. We got Anthony P.M. Jones 7th, Richard Kent coming in 8th, Tom Bridle in 9th, and Clark Williams rounding out the top 10. Behind him it is going to be Paul Grillo, it's Martin Booker in 12th, Matt Cox, Joe Osborne, Daniel Tufts, Adam Miles, Nicholas Von Roberts, Dave Kirkman, Philip Yates, and then Sarah Savage rounding out the top 20. The rest of the starting grid will be up on your screen there, and as you can see here, the 1 second bracket goes down to 19th, being 0.999 behind, and 1.5 minute lap time. That's still quite a few cars, having 19 cars within 1 second, Rachel.
Yeah, it really is. It's a pretty close field tonight, but Laguna Seca is one of those tracks that will be proven in the racing rather than the hot lapping.
Definitely will. We got the long straightaways uphill, but they're still, I don't think they're long enough for you to be able to draft past anybody, but still you're going to get some runs. So I think we're going to get to see some really big dives here. Still got about a minute for the cars to grid up here, but any early predictions here to which of the top 6 will come out on top at the end of the day, or you think we're going to see an upset from somebody further back?
I think it's possible. Everything can happen at Laguna Seca, and we've seen things being pretty brutal at the front, so expect it to be as active as we always get here at Laguna Seca. It's going to be busy. Definitely
is. And speaking of the winners, 5 winners so far, the only one in the top 6 who don't have a win is Lee Anderson. So for the sake of the championship, I think it'd be best if he got the win here today. But here we go. The green flag is out, and well, Pattinson just pulls off to the right. I don't know what happened, but he seemingly just pulled off to the right. He's going to lose a ton of positions. He did not get going at the start there. So it's going to be Benny Simonson going away with the lead here. Lee Hughes right behind him. Simon Edwards in 3rd. Benny Simonson, sorry. Lee Anderson is up to 4th. Cat is in 5th. So everybody behind him got passed, and Pattinson is down to P12 now already. That's a huge loss for him, but Benny Simonson getting away with a really good start here, Rachel.
Absolutely, bit of a knot earlier on through lap quarter 2 and 3 there round Paul Grillo back in 11th place, but things single filing out now as the field gets a little bit busier here. Everyone's singling out before we climb up the hill to one of the fastest corners and one of the ones you can make the biggest mistakes on, Linus, leading up towards Corkscrew. Up here at the top, it's barely a lift to come around the corner, but that sausage curb will upset the cars horribly should you get it wrong. Lead the field come through nice and clean as always. Coming up here towards the Corkscrew, which is the place you can screw up, especially with the new tyres being quite slippery on the first lap.
It is, and it would appear as if we have lost connection to the camera, unfortunately. So we're going to try and radio commentate here for you as well as we can. The top about 15, 16, 20 cars all in a long line here coming down the Corkscrew for the first time now into the final corner. Working on fixing that for you as soon as we can. But Benny Simonson still leading Lee Hughes, Simon Edwards, Cat, and apart from Pattinson pulling off there at the start, he's back up to 10th, by the way. Everybody is pretty much in the order that they started, and Pattinson has gone into the pits.
Yeah, he may have started on his qualifying fuel. I'm not sure, Linus. We'll take a look in just a second as the racing cars now head up across the start-finish line in towards turn 1. Some 3 wide there back in the pack as Johan Patterson is on pit road. He's not left his pit box yet. He's also not left the car, so this could be a refueling job, which would be unusual. He's coming back out. I think it was fuel. I think he still had his qualifying fuel set in the car.
That is very unfortunate for him as they were going at it now for 3rd. Anthony Cat right on the back of Simon Edwards got a little bit into the grass there. And we also had Richard Kent must have had a little bit of an off because he's dropped 12 positions here early on the first lap. Unfortunately for him. But Benny Simonson and Lee Hughes has got quite a bit of a gap here. There is about 6 or 7 tenths as we got Edwards in the gravel again. And that's going to drop him well down the order. Cat is going to go by him. Lee Anderson is going to go by him. I don't know what Edwards is doing here, but he's definitely not got the grip or the speed that he would like. Been off twice now in about 3 corners. Coming up the hill now down the Corkscrew again. They are coming into the last couple of corners. So that's definitely going to help the front too. But Cat now up into 3rd position again. So he's going to do his best to catch up to these. It's still the front 9, though, in somewhat of a line, apart from the front 2 have broken away. Then it's a bit of a gap down to Joe Osborne in 10th and a bit of a gap behind him. Then we got 11th through 20th. So some big groups early on here. So Lee Hughes and Benny Simonson now is the time. Will they work together or will they start racing? Both of these guys are very experienced in this car and in the series. I would expect them to work together. But like we said earlier, even though there is some long straightaways, it's not enough to get some draft. And we have a sideways momentarily. Anderson loses it into turn number 2. That's going to drop him behind Simon Edwards, and Anthony P.M. Jones is going to get through there as well. But he did very well to hold that car on the track.
Yeah, he just stepped out as he came into first apex of that corner there and just lost it there as he came through 2 and 3. No other interaction with any of the cars. It was just him there. So back at the front, though, Lee Hughes and Benny Simonson, Linus. Leah's been the only guy to really hold tight to Benny here. Right now, racing just there, about half a car length behind him, up under the gearbox of Benny's machine. And the two making a break about, I'd say, 10 car lengths between themselves and Anthony Cat there. Lee Anderson, of course, dropped back here. That would promote Simon Edwards to 4th place, about equidistant from Leigh Hughes to Anthony Catt, back to Simon Edwards. So they come up to the top now, big braking. Oh, it's a big dive by Tom Bridle up the inside, approaching the top corner. The turn in for the corkscrew there, holds it as he can, and brings that car down through this twisting slope there as at the front. Leigh Hughes still chases Benny Simonson.
Just as we got the camera back there, we saw a car in the background go off the track and into somebody. I'm not sure who that was, but I think Dave Kirkman was involved in that. But we are back with live pictures now, thankfully. So the front two, you can see here, Simonson and Leigh Hughes, they are pulling away, but Catt is actually slightly close in. Let's watch the lap time this time by if he's going to close in or if he's going to drop back. Leigh Hughes is actually going to set the fastest lap out of everybody, but they're going to be pretty equal on time, and then Edwards and Jones behind him drops off about 3 or 4 tenths. So Tom Bridle, though, going really quick, so this can still go either way. So we have another car off the track here. That is Martin Booker off in the last corner. That's not going to drop him too far back because he had quite a big gap to the cars behind, but he's definitely going to lose a few positions.
I'm keeping my eyes down here on Mark Langford down in 25th as we've got another turn there. Oh, big crash in turn 2. That, I guess I could read that one coming. It looked like they were all over each other. And as they come into the corner, the back end of the 12 steps out, Linus. 21, sorry, steps out. That would, of course, be, I believe, a lap car in that group. He steps out, he goes sideways and catches the 12. The 50 catches a piece of it. The 55 just catches back at the 50. And in comes the 16. It ends up being a big pile of wrecked race cars.
Yeah, we can see here it's about 3 or 4. It's Langford, it's Nobis, it's Danny Wood, it's Tim Adcock is involved in that as well. Quite a few cars. There's only 2 people stopping a gravel trap though. I think 3 of them will get DNFs from that unless they can fix it quickly. So very unfortunate incident there, but still going at the front though is Benny Simonson, Leigh Hughes and Anthony Catt edging ever closer. And well, Leigh Hughes, he can't really use the draft like they normally do to work together here, so if Catt is quicker than the leader, he is going to get there eventually, and he's still got about 10 laps to do it as we're on to lap 5 here already. Even though it's a pretty long track, the laps are still flying by here. And then Simon Edwards back into 4th after having those couple of offs early on. Still quite a bit behind, but he's in a comfortable position now, not got any pressure from behind. We're on board here now though with Simonson looking back at Leigh Hughes, and you can see Anthony Catt is right there. So one little move from Leigh Hughes, slowing these 2 down, and Catt will pounce instantly.
Absolutely will. Anthony Catt going for whatever he can at this moment in time. It's going to be a tough position for him to be in though, because he is still quite a bit behind your lead group there, as I'm actually on a replay, which is exactly why that was a bit weird as he go up through 7 now. About to climb the hill here on the back end of the circuit, and it's a lot closer than it was, Linus, right there behind your leaders. And I gotta think, if he can reach them here, this could be a huge fight we get.
Definitely could. You saw PM Jones there in the background as well, off slightly in the gravel, a bit sideways, but he managed to keep it going, and he's still in P number 5. But these 3, they're getting closer and closer now, down the corkscrew again. Looks like Simonson actually managed to pull away a little bit there from Leigh Hughes, but he's going to come closing right back up to him. And here is, oh, we got a spinner. That's number 11. That's Anthony PM Jones off the track, down the corkscrew. That's going to drop him well down the order from P number 7 down to P number 13 for now. We're going to get a quick replay of that as he just goes a little bit too hard, gets a little bit too much gravel there on the bottom half of the corkscrew and goes around. So good job holding it out of the wall there. That could have been a lot uglier if it would have come back on the track. Meanwhile, we got side by side on the corkscrew back here for 20th. That's Christopher Miles holding off Mud Kiko and Martin Hobson. So big moves being made there. You don't really want to go side by side down the corkscrew, but if you're 10 cars under a blanket like these guys are, you sort of have to.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not a great situation to be in, but it's the one you end up finding yourselves in here. As Tom Bridle works his way past Paul Grillo, just behind his group, Martin Hobson there on the screen for you right now. That group's been pushing really hard, of course, as they're coming up towards the start-finish line here. It's been a big one, really, for some of these guys, and Martin Hobson here running in 30th place right now, 29th actually on the board. The cars ahead again super closely, and this is what we saw last time by. Mud Kiko just ahead of them there in that group. As wide goes another car, nearly contact as Mud Kiko has to back out there to avoid contact.
Christopher Keeble, as well as you saw there on the screen, he went slow, and I think he may have been on qualifying fuel as well. Oh, actually he got hit from behind. He just got completely ran over right there. That was Really interesting. I couldn't really see who that was. We'll see here. It's in 26 of Will Redford, actually. See, it comes out of the corner here. Redford just pushes out, and, well, I don't know what to say about that. I think Redford just used a little bit too much track. They got really close to each other. It doesn't take much when the wheels hit each other. You know, you're pretty much done in these open wheel cars. So, fortunately for them, nobody else was involved again. But back at the front though, it's still Benny Simonson, Lee Hughes and Anthony Cat, and as you can see they're catching lap traffic already. A quick update on Pattinson as well, started second and started on qualifying fuel as we expect. He's all the way up to 29, so he's getting closer to the points, but he's not quite there yet, as Cat is trying to make a move here on Lee Hughes down into turn number 2, but he's not gonna get there quite yet. But lap cars can definitely come into play, and if these guys start battling, Simon Edwards is not far behind, even though on that last lap he was about 3/10 slower than Anthony Cat, but he's actually matching Simmons and Hughes, so a little bit of battling here, and the lap car getting in the way. Could easily see Simon Edwards get into this battle too.
Yes, certainly, it's absolutely looking that way, Linus, as the guys all over the place here just trying to find a space. Looking right now at Joe Osborne, he's running at the back of a 3-car group here, he's in 7th place. Running there with Paul Grillo, Tom Bridle, those guys super close on the racetrack as they climb up towards the kink here, and then the corkscrew just up ahead of them. Osborne been looking quicker in the last couple of races, actually. I'm really impressed with where he's been going so far in this thing. Tom Bridle, got to be a standout newer driver as well. Really high performance. Paul Grillo, of course, a major veteran, as the guys head down the hill just up ahead of him, and we're going to pass just ahead, actually. Simon Edwards making it through on, I believe that was a lap car, so that wasn't a pass, but getting his way ahead.
It is, and these guys, I mean, they're not far off. They lose a couple of few tenths per lap, so it looks like they're far off, but in a couple of seasons, or maybe even next season, I'm expecting a few of these to be up battling closer towards the front, because they've definitely made some gains just in this season alone, like you said there, Rachel. And Joe Osborne now right on the back of these guys. He's actually looking to the outside of Grillo, but he's going to get forced into the gravel. Not an ideal position to be in, but he's actually going to keep the speed. He's going to go around the outside, 3 wide past the lap car. So if Joe Osborne can just be late on the brakes here, he might be able to take 6th away and then challenge Bridle and possibly get another top 5 here. But he's going to back out early, so it's going to be Grillo holding that position on the inside. He's trying for a crossover though, but not enough room, and you see that lap car in the background getting well out of the way for everybody. And I believe that might actually be Paul Smith getting out of the way, not having the day that he usually does, but still doing a good job not getting involved with these leaders as they're all coming flying by here.
Yes, certainly are. As I've got to say, looking exciting at the front. Benny's still holding a good lead here, but Lee Hughes has dropped back. Cat has closed in here. We could be looking at a change for second in the coming laps, as looking around the likes of Tufts, Vaughan Roberts and Clark Williams here as they come up the hill. Coming through that corner, and a little bit wide by some of these guys, but they're going to push it harder and harder.
Ooh, big wiggle there as well for Hughes now coming down the corkscrew. That's going to give a chance to Cat, but I think he had to check up to not run him over. So that's going to promote, well, give Simonson over a second now down to these guys, and well, that's that might have been Cat's chance to win, unless he can get through here really quickly, because Lee Hughes obviously is not as quick as Anthony Cat is, so he'll want to get by quickly, but he can't get the exit now onto the front straightaway, unfortunately, so he's probably going to hold on to this for now, Lee Hughes. But Benny Simonson pulling away. That lap alone, he pulled half a second on these two guys because of that little wiggle, and you can see it when we go down the corkscrew. There is a lot of gravel and dirt being pulled onto the track there because of the driver slightly just cutting the curb and pulling all that gravel onto the track, which is making it slippery. So if you get slightly offline, you're gonna be right in that and you're not gonna have any grip whatsoever. But all the runoffs here being gravel and not grass or asphalt really does not help with the people cutting and going wide off the corners, as they're just pulling all that gravel straight onto the racing line.
Yeah, certainly are, of course, and these guys are going to be doing what they can here to push this thing. 14 laps in the race today. We're on lap 9. So it's been pretty eventful so far, between moments on the racetrack and some good passing action here. Laguna Seca notorious, Linus, when it comes to actually trying to find room to get past people. And we still see guys doing it.
Yeah, I think it's you don't really have many hard braking zones. All the corners are just fast sweeping, especially in these cars where you need the momentum and you're not really going that fast. But here they come down the corkscrew again. You can see all that gravel on both the apexes. Cat is right on the back here of Leus, but he just cannot find an opening, and they're slightly catching Benny Simonsen again by the looks of it. And has Lee Anderson potentially had a problem? I think he may be out of the race. See if we can figure out what happened to him.
Yeah, Lee Anderson off the track. He was last scored in 30th position. I'm going to try and see what I can find, but on pit road after something on track, he ran wide in turn 1, actually, coming in there, Linus. Oh, right, he had a car that braked really, really early in front of him. That was the 8 machine of Martin Booker. He runs wide to avoid him. Oh, he actually hit the back of Booker, trying to avoid him braking super early. He went shooting off into the gravel, probably suspension damage, so that would be Lee Anderson's race.
I'm going to get a replay up of that here. It's very unfortunate for one of our championship contenders, and yeah, you can see he just runs into the back of him. A bit like an incident we saw in another race yesterday, but that's not got nothing to do with us, so we're going to leave that out of this. Still, the leaders going at it. They're spreading out again quite a bit, so going to look a little bit further back here. We're back in the battle for 5th, 6th and 7th, I believe this is, with Osborne, Bridle and Paul Grillo, and these guys have been going at it all race long, and somehow they're still pulling away from the guys behind them. Here comes Bridle having a look up the inside of Osborne, who's actually made his way up to 5th. He's done a great job against these guys, but he cannot get away, and you can see these 5 cars coming behind. They're not far behind, so this could very well be an 8-car battle come to the end of this race, with Joe doing a great job having a tight line into the corkscrew here, and he's done a good job going down there as well. Bridle all over the back of him. Paul Grillo is right there, but I don't really see where they can make these passes apart from maybe going into the last corner or down into the first corner, unless you want to dive it into the corkscrew.
Speaking of chances, looking at Anthony Catt here as they come towards the start-finish line, is himself and Leah Hughes, and he might have enough here to go for a move into 1, or 2 I should say. It's technically turn 2 down here. Doesn't get the opportunity, but he is all over Leah Hughes. The pressure's huge, and Benny Simpson's running with it.
It is. Looked like Lee Hughes, just as we cut to this battle as well, he almost ran over a lap car. That could have been real ugly, but thankfully he avoided him. But still, Cat, he just cannot find an opening. You don't get enough draft coming down the front straightaway to pull up alongside somebody here, so you really need the car in front of you to make a mistake, or you need to have a super good exit, and you can see him going in the gravel almost off every corner, so that's definitely not going to help him. And see, now maybe he can get a little bit of a run. He's a bit closer now, coming up the hill. Going to be a left hand kink up here, and then we're into the corkscrew again, but you don't want to pass going into the corkscrew really, so it's gonna be really tough for him. He's only got 3 laps to go when we get to the start finish line, so not a lot of time, but I don't really know where he's going to do it, because he just backs out early here to not make a lunge, because if you go side by side down here and get it wrong, you're both pretty much definitely out of the race.
Yeah, certainly. It's one of those positions where you really don't want to get hurt in that one, and it's likely going to end your race should you do that, as the lead's really separated out here. Definitely the action. I mean, Simon Edwards, we've not talked about him much, but he's running in 4th. He's 4 seconds adrift of Cat, and he's 4 seconds ahead of Joe Osborne, so he's pretty much in no man's land. The fight at the front end of the field is definitely up here towards Osborne, Bridle, and Grillo. Behind them, Miles, Tufts, Williams, and Cox all coming in there, and that gap is definitely coming down, like you mentioned, Linus.
It really is. We're just going to watch Cat here. He makes a lunge up the inside of Cat, and Cat actually, Cat is going to make a move up the inside of Lee Hughes, and Hughes backs that early and gives that position to Cat, so he finally was able to do it. He got to good exit onto the straightaway, and I think now he's just going to pull away from Lee Hughes. I don't think he can catch Benny Simonsen though, as he is almost 2 seconds up the track. But see if we can follow that group now from 5th all the way down to 12th. They've actually closed up really close back there now. So it is pretty much an 8-car group, as you can see. Cat just pulling away every single corner right here. There's really nothing Lee Hughes can do to keep up.
No, certainly not. It's definitely come down to the point now where it's close as all Grillo and Tom Bridle here side by side coming up towards the kink. Grillo's just keeping himself ahead here, but Bridle right in the back of that car looking for an opening, squeezes contact. Oh, front left to rear right there. Bridle forces him to back out, loses some speed. Here comes Adam Miles, and up the inside there as he goes wide. Bridle runs very wide. He's going to come out further, gets in the way of Daniel Tufts there as that got messy.
Yeah, that was a good launch from him, but it could have gotten really ugly real quick. So I think he was lucky to be able to keep it on track there, but that spread these guys out really much. They were all nose to tail pretty much through this group, and those moves up the hill and through the corkscrew really messed this group up, as I think Cox might have gotten a slowdown or something there, because he dropped way back in the field, so he may have cut the downhill corkscrew there a little bit as he's moving back up the field now. But back towards the front, it's the battle for second. It's Anthony Cat and Lee Hughes, and well, Hughes is right on the back of Cat again, so he's not off the pace, but he's not able to get close enough. And I thought Cat was going to be able to pull away here, but he's not. So this battle is going to keep on rolling here for second place, but Simonson pulling away even more. Last time by it was 2.1 seconds at the start finish line, so this is really a battle for second place. And Anthony Cat, he is 4.5 seconds behind these guys as well, so he's not really in contention unless anything happens here. But Lee Hughes trying to do his best. He gets a little bit in the gravel there again. We've seen him from the onboards earlier. He's running a lot wider than Anthony Cat in all these corners, and definitely not helping him, as we've got about 1.5 laps to go. And here you can see him go really tight into the corkscrew as well. That's not going to help him either. So he's struggling to find the lines like Cat is doing at the moment.
Yeah, certainly is. I think it's just maybe his car's not behaving quite the same, or I mean, we'd like to. It's definitely not tyre wear. It's not really a factor in these cars, but perhaps it's just his line is not quite as good there. Dave Dowson for you on the screen there as things go at the moment. Back in 22nd place, 23rd for Dowson at the moment, as himself, Ewan Patterson, Peter Parnell running there. Actually just had a pass a little bit further up. I think that was Parnell. It was Parnell coming through there. Gets it done. Decent battle back here in 21st.
Yeah, we got always in this series, we got battles all the way through the field, and it's just a shame we can't cover all of them, but fortunately we can't have 10 cameras at once, but these guys still going at it. Meanwhile, Benny Simonson has taken a white flag. He's on to the final lap of this race, and Lee Hughes and Anthony Cat, they're still in the same order. Lee Hughes is there though, trying to find some gap to get by, but he's not going to be able to do it, I don't think. Cat, he's just been flawless through this race, apart from the start where he got held up a bit. But when he caught second place and Lee Hughes, he finally got by him, and he's not been able to drive away like I thought, but he's definitely not made a mistake. So Benny Simonson obviously going to win this. Simon Edwards going to get 4th. So I think the main battle is for 5th on back, and that gap, that group is closed way back up again. But for the last time down the corkscrew, you can see behind Lee Hughes has a look on the outside of Cat actually, at the top of the corkscrew, but he's not able to do anything with that. So he's got 2 corners to go here to do anything. Coming into turn number 10, he's going to get a little bit tighter. He needs this exit to be perfect. He's actually going to get slightly into the gravel. Is he going to have a lunge up the inside of Anthony Cat? He is. He's going to move up the inside. It's going to be side by side. Cat on the outside onto the curb. He's going to get the better exit, but it's going to be Benny Simonson winning round number 6 at Laguna Seca, getting his second win of the season, and he's going to blow a tire or something and spin out right in front of Cat and Lee Hughes, coming home in 2nd and 3rd respectively. Here's the group behind. It's going to be Joe Osborne holding on for top 5 ahead of Paul Grillo, Adam Miles, Daniel Tufts, Clark Williams, and then Cox, Barrel, and Von Roberts going to go side by side behind him, and a huge crash after the finish there. Here's the other group we're looking at coming down now into the last couple of corners, Rachel.
Absolutely, Parnell coming down now, leading this group, as it's going to be a close battle. A little bit of contact with Patterson as well there at the end. Patterson, of course, started right at the front. Unfortunate for him, though, as he slides up the inside. Patterson will come up there. Might actually take it here over Parnell. He does look to be ahead. That was a spicy little move there, right up the inside, bringing Ewan Patterson up to 20th in the end from 2nd. That was
a big move from him there. You're going to get a replay here coming down through turn number 10 here. Looks like he's trying to cross over, but 23 that holds the inside tightly. Peter Parnell, he moves up the inside again, gets blocked into the gravel. He gets a car on the outside and just dives up the inside and make contact. You can see the wheel almost coming loose there on his car, but somehow it stays on up to the start finish line, and he's able to drag race ahead of Parnell to the line, and Christopher Keeble and Dowson side by side across the line as well. And we are getting words here in my ear that Simon Edwards hit a sausage curb on lap number 1, which slightly broke his car, which is why he could not keep up with the guys in front of him. So lucky for him to still be able to finish the race in 4th place, having damaged his car on lap number 1. Well, that's everybody across the line, so let's go through your post-race results here at Laguna Seca. It's Benny Simonsen coming home with the victory, with by far the biggest margin of victory of the season of 1.6 seconds ahead of Anthony Catt and Lee Hughes in 3rd. Simon Edwards in 4th. It's Joe Osborne with an amazing top 5 there. Paul Grillo in 6th. Adam Miles in 7th. Daniel Tufts in 8th. Clark Williams in 9th. And Matt Cox rounding out your top 10. It's going to be Tom Bridle in 11th, Nicholas Von Roberts in 12th, Anthony P.M. Jones in 13th, Andrew Baranowski in 14th, Sarah Savage in 15th, Mark Van Dalen in 16th, Dave Kirkman P17, Will Redford in P18, Philip Yates in 19th, and Ewan Pattinson recovering from whatever happened at the start to finish in P number 20. The rest of the results there will be up on your screen, and well, that had a little bit of everything, Rachel. Battles all the way through, and for the first time this season, we had a leader actually pull away from the rest of the field.
Yeah, absolutely. Benny really dominated this one. He took this from the start. Really never had much competition. Anthony Catt and Lee Hughes were doing most of the race. Clear was the only one that really contested this, but he never looked like he was going to make a pass.
No, it's he was keeping up early on, but then he seemed to struggle, and as Cat got close to him, I think he started looking a bit more in the mirror than out front. So Paul Smith as well. He started 48th and he finished 40th, so he gained a few spots even though he had some issues. And Rachel, I believe you got some words on what happened to Pattinson?
Absolutely. Ewan Patterson, his pit road thing was not for fuel, it was a jump start penalty. So he just jumped the start there, came down pit road to serve his 15-second penalty. That was exactly where we saw him there.
Well, that's unfortunate. Good thing we can get some inside information for you guys, though, so we all know what happened before we leave. As you can see on the screen there, the last 3 cars crashed. While it's well, what do you it was halfway through the season, Rachel. Benny Simonsen had the lead coming into this race. Obviously he won, so that's gonna give him a huge lead in the championship. You reckon he's gonna be able to hold on and win?
It's going to be interesting because Benny's really never been around for a full season, so to see if he could win a championship or not would be interesting.
Definitely will. Well, Simon Edwards has shown up. Just see if we can get him on the mic as well. Simon, interesting race there. We heard that you got some sort of damage early on, but still able to hold on to 4th. So it looked like a quiet race for you today.
Yeah, in the first lap I went over the big sausage curb on the inside and did something to my front suspension, and my steering was really, really light, and I was just understeering off everywhere. But I managed to get on top of it, and luckily somebody spun, which gave me a space to work with, so I slowly got on top of it. Although I did about 12 1Xs trying to do it. But yeah, they were gone. Once I was out of the draft, I was stuffed, so I couldn't make that time back up. I was about 0.4 off by the end there, but it was a good win by Benny. He managed to pull a little gap there, which is really hard here.
Yeah, it's the biggest margin of victory we've had by about twice as much as before, so he did a great job, but still, great job from you with a damaged car there holding on to 4th position and not getting into more trouble than you did. So, congrats on that. Anybody you want to send a shout out to?
Not that curb manufacturer, no, not him. I've not hit it all week. I don't know why I hit it that time. I don't know why. Just the company that's sponsoring me, Masternaut, and the COVID vaccine maker. Let's hope they get that sorted, and yourselves as well. Let's go for that.
Well, thank you, Simon Edwards, and hopefully we can see you again next week. So that's, as usual, the only interview we're going to get. So Thank you for joining us, everybody, and hope to see you again next week. It's same time live here on RaceSpotTV. I've been Linus Brostrom, as always, joined by Rachel Whitefoot. Hugo Louise doing the amazing job on the cameras, and just a quick apology for the little technical difficulties there at the beginning. But hope to see you next week. Have a good night, good weekend, and stay safe, everybody. Goodbye.